Clan Brandolorian, episode 3 of the self-titled podcast, Clan Brandolorian. Welcome back. If you are a returning listener, thank you so much. If this is your first time, thank you so much. Go ahead, check us out on all socials, TikTok, Instagram, and subscribe here on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, thank you for chiming in on those platforms. Greatly appreciated. If you guys are listening to the audio, make sure you go to YouTube or Spotify and check out the video here. That way you can see your boy. But today we got insane footage of Maul Shadow Lord, the trailer. So this is the first teaser trailer. If you guys have not seen it, go watch it. If we were doing a live stream right now, this would have been a great time to go ahead and throw it up on the screen, but we don't want to get hit with a copyright. So make sure you guys go check out the trailer, Maul Shadow Lord. You can look it up on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, anywhere you can find your trailers. But I think with the return of Star Wars animation, this is going to take off. And already on Instagram, you can see so much love, guys. I mean, Maul Shadow Lord, his own series. Who would have ever thought, first off, who would have ever thought that Maul would have came back, falling down a reactor shaft with, cut in half? I mean, that's a pretty tough task to recover from. But Maul's hatred for Obi-Wan, of course, kept him alive and it pretty much fueled his fire. So getting that news of Maul getting his own TV series like we did last year at Star Wars Celebration, I mean, that's just incredible. I mean, this is just something different. We would have never thought that Darth Maul would continue to be such an impelling character, such a different character. I mean, one that is trained underneath the Sith with Darth Sidious, and also coming from the Night Sister side of things with Mother Talzin. Just a very cool character. Now we do see, characters like Morgan Elsbeth, Marin, those that are Night Sisters, where you're gonna learn a lot more, especially from Ahsoka season 2, about the Night Sisters and their origin more so. So of course, this is a very exciting time, but what we're going to do is kind of shift things over. We're going to go through some of our notes, some synopsises, plot details, and overall what we think of Maul Shadow Lord. So starting off, I am an advocate to say that this show should be pretty great. I think that the trailer gave us a lot. There's a lot of different viewpoints. We get to hear Maul's dialogue in the background talking about what he's going to do to bring up his own little syndicate. It seems like, we do know that he's going to lead into Crimson Dawn, starting that up, getting everything going with Kira, Dryden Voss, etc. But these are kind of like the first steps into Maul having his own crime syndicate. He's basically working against the Empire and wants to understand and bring down Palpatine. Something that we see back in episode 1 is his attachment to Palpatine, and it's one of those things where, yes, he bested Qui-Gon and ended up ultimately losing to his Padawan, who wasn't even a Jedi Master yet. He was still a Jedi Knight. And this is something that's very interesting because the character of Darth Maul, when you see what he's been through and everything, especially with Palpatine and losing ultimately to a Jedi Knight, he has a lot of fire underneath of him. And this is something that is kind of tough, especially if you care for Maul. And of course, Star Wars, it's always from a certain point of view. That saying is a thing for a reason. But you look at characters like Maul and you're like, wow, he kind of has the shitty end of the stick. So when you look at Maul and what he's been through, I think that this show is really going to show a lot of those little aspects within Maul. And kind of before we get into some of the plot details here and what's going to happen, how many episodes, when they drop, all of that, I do want to say I really hope that Maul Shadow Lord right at the beginning gets that same treatment that the Book of Boba Fett did, where we see how Boba got out of the Sarlacc. That was a really cool thing, and I feel like that just drew me in. And it was like, something 40 years ago with fans of the original trilogy, seeing Boba Fett fall into the Sarlacc, you're like, oh yeah, he's done. There's no way he's coming back from that. But he does. Now, with Maul, I do want them to open up somehow at the beginning. Maul, or maybe when he's talking to someone, kind of reflecting on his past, I would love to see Maul fall down that shaft, cut in half, and he basically kind of slides out like Luke did on Cloud City. I think that would just be such a cool thing. We see where he went from there. We do know that he got into he fell into like kind of like a trash compactor unit and then was sent off to that trash planet. And I think that would be a really cool thing to see those in between little visuals. I think that would just be awesome. We see where Maul came from. And like I said, that kind of gives us those subtle details of what happened before and kind of fills us in. So that's my one thing that I want from this show. If we don't get it, it's not going to be a make or break. We can still use our imagination, but I feel like he should definitely touch back on that because that's a big moment of his life. That was the turning point. I mean, being a feared Sith, being one of the first ones to come out and show themselves to the Jedi, I think that was just absolutely amazing. This right here, that would be just a good way to start. But let's go ahead and talk about Maul Shadow Lord. According to Star Wars Holocron over on X/Twitter, go give them a follow. Really good with the news. They said that this will premiere with 2 episodes on April 6th, after which 2 episodes will release each week until the finale premieres on May the 4th. So, Maul Shadow Lord, newest animated series. This is going to drop on April 6th, and there's going to be 2 episodes each week leading up until the finale, which will end on May the 4th. So, of course, Star Wars Day, that's going to be awesome. And we have an actual official plot description of Maul Shadow Lord. And this reads, Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord picks up after the events of Star Wars The Clone Wars for a pulpy adventure that finds Maul plotting to rebuild his criminal syndicate on a planet untouched by the Empire. There, he crosses paths with a disillusioned young Jedi Padawan who may just be the apprentice he is seeking to aim him in his relentless pursuit of revenge. Now, if you have seen the trailer, everything that goes on, we see a character more so that kind of represents a Talon figure. Now, not necessarily Talon, but it is a Twi'lek, a Jedi Knight, Jedi Padawan. And it seems like she is going to basically kind of fill those shoes of Ahsoka, what Ahsoka would have been to Maul if she would have taken his hand. And I thought that was a really cool little mirror for Maul's story, because the way he's seen Ahsoka and when she was kind of like imprisoned in that little moment, Maul was like, join me, we can get things rolling. And she's like, this isn't kind of how I wanted it to roll, but we're just gonna have to work together to get out here. So I think this is a really cool thing. It kind of mirrors that aspect of Maul and Ahsoka. So with this new Jedi Padawan, this could be very different, only because this could kind of show us what Ahsoka would have been to Maul if she would have went with him. Really cool. There's just gonna be a lot from this series. It's gonna be very interesting, and I mean, it sucks that we have to wait almost a little over 2 months for this to come out, but that's okay. Marok, which is an Inquisitor who appeared first in Ahsoka, will be returning in Maul Shadow Lord. He's the one with the cool mask and the little kind of, it's like a weird mask. It's kind of hard to describe, but if you need to see, look up Marok. Really cool character, and he's the one in Ahsoka season 1 that fights Ahsoka twice, and then he ends up getting cut by Ahsoka, and he leaks out the the Night Sister magic that kept him alive, that resurrected him. So more than likely, he's probably going to die to Maul in this series just for it to make sense, and we can maybe see the Empire take him in, or even Morgan Elsbeth or Thrawn stumbles upon him. That'd be pretty cool. The 11th brother, the Inquisitor who first appeared in Tales of the Jedi, will be returning in Maul Shadow Lord, which this is the kind of bird-faced Inquisitor that Ahsoka killed in Tales of the Jedi. This one's really cool. I feel like these 2 Inquisitors are probably the best looking. They're very cool. Gideon Adlon, who will be voicing Devon Azara in Maul Shadow Lord. That's really cool. So she's going to be kind of like the main character outside of Maul, it seems like. So back to the release schedule for Maul Shadow Lord. So we do know April 6th, we're going to get episodes 1 and 2, following the next week with April 13th, episodes 3 and 4, April 20th, episodes 5 and 6, 420, haha, and April 27th, we have episodes 7 and 8, and the 9th and 10th final episode on May 4th. So we're getting a 10 episode little series. And something I did want to point out too with Maul Shadow Lord, this is known to have the Clone Wars style effects and animation style, but something that kind of stood out to me was the artwork. It kind of looks like an airbrush style finish. There's not too much of a full symmetrical like design. It seems more like on the outsides they're a little rough. I don't know if that's kind of the tone of the show that they're trying to finish with, but I really do like how it looks. I think it looks really good. Something also I've noticed is Maul's lightsaber looks very nice. All the movement seems super smooth, which is another thing I really like and would definitely enjoy to see going forward. I feel like animation, a lot of fans, some fans don't like the animation style, but I just feel like with animation, we get so much more story. And it's also going to be something crazy to see with Sam Witwer voicing Darth Maul. It's going to be cool to see, him and Dave Filoni kind of go back and forth, and we'll see some of those styles for sure. Another thing that's really cool is Maul Shadow Lord will seemingly not feature one-off or isolated episodes like previous Star Wars animation series have. And news comes from the director Brad Rao. The show is highly serialized, very connected all the way through. So that's really cool to hear because not all of these episodes will be filler. So that's another good positive thing. I think that's going to be really, really cool. But yeah, I mean, if you guys are still here, make sure you drop down in the comments. What are you looking forward to the most in Maul Shadow Lord? I know this is going to be a complete game changer for some Star Wars fans. I feel like most of us are very excited for this. I mean, there's almost no way you kind of back out of watching this. The only thing with this is, Maul being the character he is, we know how he starts and we know how he ends, especially with his demise to Obi-Wan on Tatooine. It's very, very cool to see how this character has basically just been on the back burner. He's not a character that has been super out there. He's one that's definitely living behind the curtains, hence Maul Shadow Lord. I feel like they're really going to show his aspect of being kind of like a hermit, one that hides a lot. And especially when we see him lead up into Star Wars Rebels, we see how he recruits Ezra in the way he was. I feel like on Instagram, I've posted quite a bit with Maul Shadow Lord, and I have been told a few times in the comments and via DMs that some people are like, well, if Maul was to fight Vader, which is another cool thing we can touch upon after this, is the fact that he was telling Ezra, look, if we're going to fight, Darth Vader, it's going to take more than just one person. So is this where we see that fight between Maul and Vader? Now, something that I think would be really cool with this is the fact that Maul is probably, for one, going to take out Marok, the Inquisitor. Also, he can't kill the 11th brother because Ahsoka bests him. But I feel like it is so not far-fetched that the 11th brother will be leaving soon and then we'll run into the tracks of Ahsoka Tano. But what other Inquisitors would they send after Darth Maul? Now we know that characters like the Grand Inquisitor, Fifth Brother, Second Sister, we know that some of those characters are still out there, but is Palpatine going to send them to kill Maul? Now, with Maul killing some of the Inquisitors already, maybe we get to see some newer Inquisitors that Maul will take care of. They also tell Maul in the trailer that the Emperor wants you dead. Now, if he's going to be taking out some of these characters, why would they not send the one and only person that could best him? Now, this is where we throw in Darth Vader. Now we look at the memes and of course like the factual things that happened. Darth Maul almost ran over a young Anakin Skywalker. How cool would that be to see Darth Vader, a grown-up Anakin, basically kind of get on Maul? It's like a little payback that we would know. It's like a subtle thing that us Star Wars fans could see. And I think that would just be such a funny thing if they ended up fighting. But I really think it would be a good time and a good opportunity to show Maul fighting Vader. Now, there's some legends, comics and books that I've seen online here kind of researching. This would be a really cool time to actually see that happen. Now, Maul being the character he is, I really do think that if he was to fight Vader, there's no way that Maul walks away without any sort of injury or being hurt. And that's okay, because this shows that connection to Rebels on why Maul was telling Ezra that, there has to be more than just one person. There has to be two or more to take him on. He's too strong. I think that'd be a really cool little dynamic just to throw into the show. Maul more so should maybe get a good fight with Vader. Maybe something pops up to where they have to leave quickly, and I think that would kind of save Maul at the end of the day. Maybe his apprentice shows up and kind of causes a distraction for them to get away. And another thing that I was thinking about earlier when, some people were commenting, You know, like, dude, he's not getting away from Vader. There's no shot. Well, a solo rebel pilot or rebel scout got the Death Star plans and dipped. And I know they hopped onto the Tantive, but I mean, Vader could have easily stopped the ship. You know, he could have figured something out. It's the Death Star plans. That, of course, causes holy pandemonium, you know, once knowing that the rebels got away with the Death Star plans. I mean, the galaxy completely changed at that fact and at that point in time. So if Vader really wanted to stop them, he would. And I feel like he's going to have no problem stopping Maul. Now, I think this is going to make Maul, I feel like Maul is kind of going to be on the outside, looking into the Empire, trying to slowly start figuring stuff out. But I don't think he's going to be too behind the curtains. I don't think he's going to be in the shadows as much at the beginning of the season. Now, I think with a lot of the attacks from the Emperor, the Empire, and everybody in between, I feel like this is going to send Maul deeper into hiding. I feel like he's really going to start at, you know, kind of like a ground level, working with crime, a lot of syndicates, a lot of shady people. And once he recruits this Devon character, I think that's when things are really going to kick off for Maul. So going forward, Maul is really going to have everything. He's going to have his shop set up and he's going to be ready to go. I mean, I don't see a point where, you know, the Emperor is sending a lot of these people and wanting to get Maul done. Maul is going to be able to kind of get thrown deeper into hiding, going out, visiting different planets, trying to figure some things out. I mean, it's kind of like a businessman. I mean, if we look up what Crimson Dawn did. Yeah, so if we look up Crimson Dawn, it is a formidable crime syndicate in Star Wars founded by Darth Maul, later led by Kira. It was primarily designed as a powerful Shadowrun organization, and it was used to accumulate wealth and influence for the purpose of challenging and destroying the Sith. Now, this is really cool. They wanted to take down Darth Sidious and Darth Vader, of course. It served as a successor to the Shadow Collective operating during the Galactic Empire era. Now, this is something that's really cool because now, with Maul Shadowlord, we can connect in Solo. We can connect in Rebels. We can connect in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. The time between episode 3 and 4, the 18 to 19 year span that we have post Revenge of the Sith, is a beautiful era. I mean, we have so much time. The Empire is at its peak, and right here, I believe in Maul Shadowlord, we're really going to see how they pretty much come together and how everything is slowly started going forward and how they rule the galaxy. Also, one thing I want to mention is the marketing for this. I feel like things were kind of quiet. There are leaks already that next month in February, Funko will be releasing the Maul Shadowlord figures, and I believe that there are 3 figures that will be dropping, and also there's going to be some Mandalorian and Grogu dropping next month. But some of those, the Kenner toy that has been spotted at Target recently for Maul Shadowlord is out. So I feel like a lot of things are dropping early. So yeah, here in the last few years, I feel like the Bad Batch really transcended animation for Star Wars. I feel like the stories were so good. It was so much fun and everything worked. So with Maul Shadowlord, I kind of get those same vibes that I am ready. And I think that this show is going to do well. I mean, there's so many different aspects. Are we going to see Maul kind of be a badass, or are we going to see him a little bit more laid back, trying to perfect the crime syndicate aspect? I mean, basically they're funding everything, people, credits into taking out the Sith. And Maul is one of those characters where this is the perfect story for him. This is pretty much the best place he could be at this point in time, only because he's not working underneath Sidious anymore. He's not being deceived and manipulated and lied to, which is a good trait of the Sith. I mean, that's how they operate. No matter how you see the Sith, how you see the Jedi, that's just facts. How many times do we think we're going to hear Obi-Wan Kenobi be mentioned? I mean, this is the one that kind of drug him out and lashed out to. I mean, they get to meet multiple times in the Clone Wars after their big, long hiatus from each other. And, you know, does Maul know how things are going to end? Does he know that his last move is going to be trying to find Kenobi? I mean, Vader was the same way. That's just how good of a character Obi-Wan is as well. But I do think, you know, some of this being reprised by Sam Witwer, I think this really, really helps the case of this being a great show. Now, I don't have any concerns or any feelings that this is not going to work out, that it's going to be a flop. There's really just no way. But with that first episode coming out, it's going to be groundbreaking. How long are these episodes going to be? Are we talking 30 to 40 minutes? Are we talking an hour each? I think that would be really cool. Especially with them already saying that there's going to be no filler. I really hope that they stick to that, because if we got some sort of continuity going forward of this story, it'd be pretty good. I do think the filler sometimes in animation can really hold you back, and that is literally the worst thing. And also, I don't know the release times. If this is coming out, in United States time, we should get this, 7 to 8 at night. Overseas, of course, you're looking at times of like 2 to 3 a.m. and it could, extend even longer depending on where you're at. But I just find it so interesting that this is already advertised as not having any filler. That's really huge. That's a huge thing for the show already. But before we sign off here, I do want to thank you all for joining me in this episode. This has been a really good time. Let's go ahead and look at Gizmodo. We got this website pulled up here. This has 6 interesting facts and details that they've spotted from the Maul Shadow Lord. And one of the things that they have mentioned here is the locations and the new world. So it says, although it's not explicitly mentioned in the trailer itself, and despite it's giving some heavy Coruscant lower level vibes, Maul Shadow Lord is actually set on a brand new planet called Janix, with its capital city built inside a massive crater. That's pretty cool. It's for a good reason beyond moving us away from the familiar place. Maul is not quite stupid enough to go set up shop almost literally under the nose of his former master, Palpatine, especially after he gave him and his brother Savage Opress a kicking after the rule of Mandalore during the Clone Wars. So cool, we get a new little planet, we get a new city. I think that's going to be really cool. And it was giving Coruscant vibes this entire time. I thought they were on Coruscant in the lower levels. Never mind, they're on Janix. Cool planet. Number 5 is the TK troopers. Yeah, I thought they looked pretty cool. And this is kind of that slow transition from the clones into actually hiring humans to do this job. And yeah, so it's not clones anymore. They're slowly transitioning into just basically military workers. Speaking of another Star Wars animated series legacy, we get to see a bunch of very specific stormtroopers in action throughout the trailer, heavily inspired by the early Ralph McQuarrie art of some stormtroopers for the original Star Wars, the TK troopers, as they are known, and introduced first in the Bad Batch as an initial wave of non-clone military forces recruited by the Empire. So, pretty cool. It's cool that they're going back and paying homage to Ralph. I think that's really, really cool that they're still using some of those aspects from the beginning. And number 4, they have here a blade of a dark disciple. You know me, when I hear dark disciple, my ears perk up because, my boy Quinlan, I love him. While he's kneeling before a tea set, we get a very interesting glimpse of Maul's lightsaber in the trailer. Some of the weapon has been modified to make it a dual blade saber using part of Maul's original lightsaber that we saw him wielding in the Phantom Menace and the Clone Wars until it was lost with the duel on Mandalore. We actually see Maul use his new saber in the Clone Wars final season during the duel with Ahsoka Tano at the climax of the Republic siege of the Mandalorian homeworld. Pretty cool. But what's really interesting is that there is a newly added part of the design that was in a precedence in the Star Wars. The new part of the hilt is actually the same design as the one wielded by Asajj Ventress in the artwork created for her appearance in the early canon novel Dark Disciple. Funny enough, neither Maul nor Ventress herself keeps the weapon for long. The former gets a new weapon by the time of his appearance in Rebels and Solo, which, with that, it looks like part of an Inquisitor's lightsaber circular guard attached to the hilt, while the ladders are turned from the grave seen in the Bad Batch, and the Tales of the Underworld sees her wielding a curved hilt inspired by her original saber's wield as a Sith apprentice. Very interesting. So are we looking at Maul's new lightsaber maybe forged by an Inquisitor? Very interesting. I guess I didn't notice that. Now I'm going to have to go back and look at that. A new disciple altogether is the 3rd one, and this is more so talking about Devon or Devon. All the talks of the disciples has us very intrigued by another character who seems prominently throughout the trailer, a young pink-skinned Twi'lek Jedi named Devon Izara. Devon is a Jedi on the run with her master Iko Diodaki, and we see her doing a lot of typical ex-Jedi things like helping others and fighting off Imperial forces, but it seems that she is pushed to the moment of desperation. Maul Shadow Lord might see her to take a turn towards the darkness and partner up with Maul. So that's going to be a cool thing. Seeing another light side person fall to the dark side, it's always a good sight to see. We're sick. We want to see dark. We want to see good people fall to the dark side. I mean, it's terrible. What are we doing? So that's pretty cool. The die is cast. So we're talking more of a Rook cast. Speaking of familiar faces, we seemingly get a brief glimpse of another comic character, a purple-haired woman, a Mandalorian armor, seeing blasting Maul's foes with her wrist-mounted flamer at one point. Now, this can't be Sabine Wren because Sabine would be just kind of a small child at this point. But it says that in Maul Shadowlord, this makes it a near impossibility that Sabine is around 16 by the start of Rebels, making her a toddler by the time of the show. So yes, lots of time in between. Thankfully, there's another purple-haired Mandalorian, and that goes by Rook cast. So yes, definitely there. And also Vanessa Marshall will be returning to reprise her voice acting job as Rook cast. And no one expects the Imperial Inquisitorius. Back at it with the familiar faces, the Maul trailer leans heavily on the fact that as much as we may have wanted to, Maul has to yet escape the shadow of his former master. Palpatine dispatches more than just stormtroopers the Janix, but it also has the Imperial Inquisitorius to hunt down Maul in the form of 2 familiar Inquisitors. Now, that's something I've always been thinking too, especially with this trailer coming out, is are we going to see Palpatine? You know, I think and really hope that they show Vader. Are they going to show Palpatine again? Are they going to show him just super mad at the fact that Maul is out there kind of causing havoc and it's something that can actually help break the Empire? It's going to be a very interesting thing. So yeah, we don't have too much to wait. So yes, officially we have 74 days until Maul Shadowlord. This is going to be a time to be alive, guys. I cannot wait. Let me know down in the comments, are you excited for Maul Shadowlord? Is this something you've been looking forward to? I think this is going to do great. I just don't see a world where this flops. I don't see how fans aren't going to be taking this one in and be like, wow, that was a great show. I'm super excited and I'm super happy for Maul Shadowlord. I think it's going to be the next big thing. And once this is over, guys, think about this. When this starts, it's going to be great. But when it ends, it's going to be time for the Mandalorian and Grogu. It's going to be time for all of us Star Wars fans and even non-Star Wars fans seeing Baby Yoda, Grogu, be in a movie. We will be at the theaters, guys. We will be there. We will be not be square, and we will be so excited. It's just a good time right now, guys. Getting Maul Shadowlord so close to the Mandalorian and Grogu, and then we get to lead everything up to Ahsoka season 2. That's going to be peak. We know what that's going to be. 2026 is a huge year for Star Wars. We have to take this in. We have to embrace this. This is just going to be a great time, guys. So make sure you follow over on Instagram, follow over at TikTok, and please subscribe here on YouTube. The goal by the end of the year is 1,000 subscribers. We're at 800 subscribers as of now, little over 800. So make sure you subscribe. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining us. If you are returning, thank you for joining me as well. But this is going to be a great thing. Maul Shadowlord is finally here. Absolute cinema. We love to see it. But with that being said, guys, thank you for tuning in this week. We will see you next week. Clan Brandolorian, this is the way. Maul Shadowlord, baby. Let's get it.